Greetings and welcome to episode 9 of the Weekly Review, the weekly podcast for Words About Games, where we sit down and we talk about the games that we've been playing. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander, and searching for something is my co-host, Mr. Daffy Mooney.
I'm searching for all the glorious games, Amy, that we're hopefully going to be talking about today.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what you were looking for.
I had to do something. I thought I can't just do that. That's the podcast. This is
All
the
right.
game podcast.
So
I need to figure something else out.
We're making a differentiation.
Yeah.
Between what you do at the beginning of a podcast to try and put me off and what you do at the beginning of a review podcast to try and put me off. I see you.
Well, it seemed like it worked a little bit because she was like, "What is he doing?"
I was like, "What's happening? I've already started. I can't really stop and ask."
Yeah.
You know, I'm the only person who ever puts me off to screw up an intro of a podcast. Is me. It's me.
Oh.
No, it's me. I'm the only person who's ever been. I put myself off. Other people do all sorts of weird and crazy stuff sometimes, and I'm fine. But then I'll do or say something wrong, and then that's it. I'm gone. It's when you if I say the wrong thing even a little bit in an intro, and it's when you trip, but you're running, but you're like, maybe I can save it, and then you start stumbling. And then, slowly you realize you can't save it as you very slowly, keep going forward but stumble, and then eventually you just hit the ground. That's basically a metaphorical representation of what happens. Once I've realized I've made a mistake, my brain starts jumbling, but very slowly. And it takes 10 seconds to catch up, and then eventually I'm just can't say words anymore. Yeah, fair. It's great. It's fun. We're not here to talk about my brain. Thank God, we'd be here for a long time.
That'd be an interesting conversation.
That would be an interesting conversation. Fascinating. I'd probably get sectioned if the wrong people saw that, though. We're here to review games. We have 3 games to talk about this week. And 0 consoles. Because obviously last week was our console review podcast.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever reviewed a console before.
I know. Are you still happy with your purchase?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Big star. I haven't used it that much this week, though. I played Bugsnax on it, but everything else, apart from the day of No Man's Sky, which is on Twitter.
Yeah. It is pretty funny. I think I said it on the podcast, but I was reiterating here that there's the new console out and everything like that, but we've been playing all the games. New games are out, but for some reason I've gone back to the oldie, the golden.
Yeah, right. I can justify No Man's Sky because it's it got a next gen upgrade. So I can justify being well, I've got the next gen upgrade and I wanted to see what that was like. The answer is, oh my God, it's so pretty. But I did the other game I'm playing, which I'll talk about soon because I'm going to announce that I'm going to do the video for it, is even older and not on my PlayStation, and I've got no excuse. I was like, I want to do a video about this game. I suppose I better play it. And I know you saw it, and we're like, what? You're playing that? Because I never told you what I was doing. Yeah, I was playing that on my my Xbox 360, where you do backwards compatibility, and it launches into it launches you into the Xbox 360 ecosystem. Yep. And you even hit the Xbox button, and it's the old Xbox 360 UI and stuff, and it's wow, I'm having some flashbacks here. This also definitely is not in full HD. Wowzers. The game was. The game was. The menu wasn't. Oh shit.
Well, you did just say the game. You don't have to worry about the menu, guys.
Yeah, as long as the game's good, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the games. We've got three games to talk about. We're talking Bugsnax. I told you I'd do a podcast this year that was called Talking About Bugsnax.
You did.
We're talking Football Manager 2021. And then we're talking Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
Call of Duty.
which is still a mouthful to say. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. It's just dumb. The game's dumb. But we'll talk about the rest of it in a bit, because I want to start with Bugsnax. So let's talk Bugsnax. I finished Bugsnax.
I thought you might. It's a good way to start.
I was like, I had to finish it.
Finished.
Like, put my money where my mouth is, and like literally finish this game. You got your Epic account working again. I don't know if you actually played any Bugsnax, but
no, I have not purchased it yet, because obviously I did tell you that I did refund it because Epic wasn't working. But I have fixed it.
Fixed it. You fixed it. I didn't fix it.
Yes,
you fixed it.
I
tried.
Don't use full guard internet security, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
Say that.
You play it, and Epic Games will not work with it, no matter what you do to it. Apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've played Bugsnax all the way through. Even did a ton of side stuff. I thought about getting the platinum and chose not to. I might have to go back for it over Christmas break, but I doubt it. What do you want to know about Bugsnax, Moody?
Okay, what's the story about? Let's go basic. Story first. What's the story?
What happens is basically, alright, here we go. So you are a journalist. You're like your thing. The character's thing is to like hunt down. You're like the crazy person who writes the articles about Bigfoot, right? Or Sasquatch. And you've gone to Snacktooth Island because a famed explorer called Lisbeth, can't remember her surname. The only reason I can remember her first name is because it's on the screen right now. She sent you a video about Snacktooth Island and about Bugsnax. And she's like, come, because she's also like, she's this researcher who like goes after like things like Sasquatch and Bigfoot. And she's like, you're the perfect person to come and share this story with everybody. And then you go there, and then the game opens with the part you've seen in the trailer where you're on the boat, you're on like the flying boat thing, and then the pizza moth comes along and the boat crashes and you run and you fall off the cliff. That's how the game starts, and you find the mayor of the town that they've built. And so you get there, Lisbeth's disappeared. Everybody else had a big fight, which is alluded to a lot, and they've all scattered. Like, so it's literally just Filbo, the mayor, in the town. And like, so for a large portion of the game, it's you doing stuff to like get everybody back to the village, to get the village going again, whilst also uncovering like clues about what happened to Lisbeth and where she went, because she just vanished one day. And the entire time, learning about Bugsnax, catching Bugsnax, feeding Bugsnax to people, watching their limbs change into weird and crazy things, and like trying to figure out what's going on. And maybe something's a bit off from almost the very beginning of the game. It's got that feeling of there's something a bit off about this place. Maybe it's the anthropomorphized food with the giant googly eyes. That could be it. But yeah, like from there, I'm not going to go into any specifics about the story.
Okay, what's the gameplay? How is it?
So yeah, we can dive.
I think it's first person.
Yeah, so we'll dive into like characters and stuff later. But the gameplay, it's a bit like Pokemon Snap, right? Which is great if you love Pokemon Snap like I do. So like, you are either trying to complete the main quest, which the main quest is essentially going to different regions of the island, and there's somebody there, and you have to do stuff for them to convince them to come back to the village. That's the main quest. And then there's side quests. Once you get people back to the village, you get side quests to do for them, which I highly recommend you do for multiple reasons, some of which are spoilers. And then you do those. And all of that basically revolves around... It's a first-person game. There's Bugsnax everywhere. You scan them. It tells you... It shows you, like, their movement patterns. And it gives you, like, their likes and dislikes. So, like, say, for example, because there's, like, sauce all over the island, which you can, like, pick up and put in a slingshot and fire. And that can attract them. or if they hate something, they'll attack it. And then essentially it's about catching them. Usually for like there's a trophy and personal satisfaction to be had for catching all of the Bugsnax as you would like in a Pokemon game. But like usually you're trying to catch these Bugsnax for reasons like this person wants 2 of Bunga, the little burger dude that wanders around, and they all say their names like in various different ways.
Yeah, yeah.
And it can be really cool. Like all you'll hear is bunga 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 bunga, and he's just walking around. And then I can't remember what the one. There's like the Boopsicle, I think it is, and it's like a bro voice, and it just shouts like because it charges at you.
Yeah.
Like whenever it sees you, and all you'll hear is Boopsicle. But yeah, like that's essentially the gameplay to it. So you get various different traps and contraptions that you have to use to try and catch these Bugsnax. You scan them with the camera to tell you, like, it gives you like hints on how to catch them. Because it starts off pretty simple, right? Put the trap in the path, activate the trap, boom, you've caught a Bugsnax. But then, like, later on, it starts getting way more complicated to catch them. Like, for example, there'll be ones that are in the lava, and you've got to lure them out of the lava. And then you've got to lure the Boopsicle to hit them, because the Boopsicle is made of ice, essentially. To collide with it, to cool it so you can then pick it up. Because if you just lure it out of the lava and pick it up, you'll set yourself on fire. Sure. And then literally you'll be running around in first person for a bit, going, ah! Which is what happens when you set yourself on fire.
So we don't want that. Okay, I think the next thing is what did you think of this? Did you like this game? Is Bugsnax, Amy, 2020's game of the year?
Unfortunately not, no. But that was always a joke, isn't it? I don't think I was ever going to give Bugsnax 2020's game of the year.
Oh, could be.
It's a very good game. It has some flaws. It also has some really, really awesome stuff. But overall, I enjoyed my time with it. It goes places, especially towards the end. Those places can catch you off guard. Even if you're going in fully prepared for this game to have twists.
Yeah, yeah.
It twistier than I could have imagined. Like I was not prepared. But okay. And I'm not telling you or anyone.
No, I don't want
where this game eventually goes.
Yeah.
But it's Jesus. That's all I'll say.
Okay. So without spoiling it, obviously no spoilers. You said you believe this was going to be a horror game. Without spoilers, can you answer that?
Without spoilers,
it's simple. Is it yes or no?
I don't think I can answer that without spoilers.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
The game starts, and it is very much it very much feels like a family-friendly game, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you would play this game with your kids. And then as you progress through the story, like I said, it feels off almost immediately. But like, I don't think a kid would notice that, right? Because it's cute and colorful, and the characters are all very likable and very lovable, whatnot.
Yeah.
As it goes on, and you start learning things, and you start noticing things, it does start to veer towards what I was expecting, slightly. And then the last act happens, and it both was and was not what I was expecting. Let's just put it that way. Also, the thing I just said about this being kid-friendly, maybe not. No. If you've got kids and you're like, ooh, this game looks cute, I don't know. Like,
fascinating.
I don't think so.
That's fascinating. All right. That's pretty fun. That's pretty interesting. I won't lie. I do intend to play this, boys, but it probably will be after I finish college, because you know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a massively long game. I reckon 7 hours, 8 hours to like finish it while doing the side quests.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay.
Which
What
you
didn't
have to
work
do.
for you?
Again, I'm going to hammer this point home.
Hmm?
Do the side quests.
Do the side
I
quests.
implore you.
Okay, okay.
For two reasons. One, the characters are really cool, and it's just nice to get to know them. But two, it has a positive effect on what happens towards the end that you're gonna want.
Okay. What didn't work for you on this game?
Right. So we're gonna dive right in here. I'm gonna need to talk about what does work as well as what doesn't.
Okay, yeah.
Just
No
to
worries, yeah.
sort
The
of
pros
dig
and
into it.
cons. Give us the pros and cons.
So I'm gonna do a pro that doesn't have a con first, and the pro is the cast of characters is wonderful. I think there's like 12 or 13 different characters in the game besides yourself. They're fantastic. I loved interacting with them. Again, you meet them one at a time. So, like, you'll meet Filbo, and he's like passed out in the in the woods. You've got to feed him some strabbies and turn his arms into strawberries. And again, how could anyone not think this was a horror game? And like then you start meeting characters, and it's like you do stuff for them, which pretty much all revolves around catching Bugsnax for them and feeding them Bugsnax for various different reasons. And like the different characters are all very different from each other, and they all have very different personalities. So you'll meet the bodybuilder guy who's like just wants gains, and he's like trying to get stronger and stronger. And you'll meet his boyfriend, who's the conspiracy theorist, who's like proper, like he believes in the Illuminati. I think they call it the Grumpinati because they're all grumpuses. So everything's grump this and grump that. So I think it's the Grumpinati, and he believes the Grumpinati is like tracking him with. At one point, you have to feed him cookies, which are basically little Oreo Bugsnax, and change his teeth into cookies, which sounds incredible. Like if my teeth were made of Oreos, and I'd never have to worry about going to the dentist again. But also because like then the Grumpinati couldn't track his his metal fillings or whatever it is, and it's just like, yeah, he's that kind of character, right? And those two characters are in a relationship, and as you learn more about the two of them, because when you meet them, you're just like, why are you two like? Why are these two people like together? You know what I mean? Like they're so different from each other, and it's as you start learning about them, and then you're like, oh, I get it now. Like, and that's the same across all of the characters. You'll meet characters, and you'll just be like, they may be annoying at first, but as you get to know them, like you start like endearing yourself to them, or there'll be things about them where you'll be questioning like, why is this, or why are you like this? And then you'll start learning as you start like talking to them and interacting with them. It's fantastic. Even the two characters who are missing at the beginning of the game, because you find evidence to try and find them essentially and figure out what happened to them, and that includes video diaries which you play on a projector. So you actually get to see them and see their relationship and see those characters evolve. So like I can't speak highly enough about the characters. The only one that I never really got on with is the one that's on screen right now, Wiggle. He was a pop star, and Wiggle is very much sings quite a lot of dialogue, and it just got a bit annoying for me. Like she was really over the top. She kept singing, and she was like, "The Queen of Bugsnax will devour us all," and it's just like, don't be so melodramatic.
Yeah.
Like, but again, it's pretty nifty. So that's one thing that definitely worked for me. Another thing that worked for me until it didn't was catching Bugsnax, right? Like, it's pretty fun.
The main element.
Yeah, it's pretty fun for the most part. Like, when it starts getting more complicated, you can start ending up in these situations where, like, the general chaos of what's happening, like, can be a bit much. Like, when certain elements will interact with certain other elements. Like, so the thing I said before, to use a specific example of the little Bugsnax that was in the lava, and you have to lure it out of the lava, and then you have to get a boopsicle. And again, I'm not even sure if boopsicle's the name, but it's close to it. And you have to get them to collide so that the boopsicle will put the fire out, etc., etc. Like, it took me ages to do that because all hell was breaking loose because it was happening in this lava cave, and other boopsicles had come down to like because they'd been chasing me because that's what they do, and then it was like I'm luring the little dude out from the lava, but the boopsicle's already walked across some lava, so it's not frozen anymore. So instead of the boopsicle hitting the thing and melting it or whatever, like putting its fire out, what was happening was, because that wasn't happening, the little cookie dude would pick the boopsicle up and just throw it somewhere. And like that, when you have to try and get two elements of the game to interact with each other, sometimes it's brilliant, but a lot of the times it can just lead to these situations that make things a bit more difficult than it should be.
Yeah.
And that's one specific example of that happening to me in the game, where it was like, I'm trying to catch this thing and it's not working. The other one is, sometimes the hints can be a bit vague as to what you've got to do to catch a Bugsnax. Like, sometimes it's really simple. And sometimes it's really... And, like, sometimes it can take a little bit to figure out, but in that way where it's like... It's not annoying to try and figure out. That's part of the game, right? It's like, okay, so for example, this thing that's on the screen right now, it's like, okay, so it flies really fast, so I need to slow it down. How do I slow it down? Well, it likes chocolate. So what if I turn this other Bugsnax into, like, what if I cover that thing in chocolate, and then it flies down and it eats the Bugsnax, and then the flying bug that I'm trying to catch gets bigger and slows down. Mint. Awesome. Like, and that takes a little bit of figuring out, but it's worth it. And then there are other ones. Like, there's a one which you have to break. So it's like, it's multiple different food types as one big Bugsnax. And if you get near it, it just chases you.
Yeah.
And I was trying everything, right? I was sending it into the path of other Bugsnax that would just crash into it. Nothing was working. And it turns out you have to make it walk through water. And then it, like, a timer comes up and it explodes after 20 seconds into its component Bugsnax parts.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was way too vague. I had to look that up. And the funniest part was, you had to do two of those specific Bugsnax. You had to break two of them. And as I was trying to fucking do one, and like, I was using the spring trap to launch it into fucking walls, and I was doing everything in my power to try and break this thing. Another one somewhere else in the level ended up getting attacked and flown into the lake. So all of a sudden, I just looked at the quest log thing in the top corner of the screen, and it was like, "You've already broken one." And I was like, "How? When? Where? I haven't."
How have I done this?
I promise you, I haven't done this.
Yeah.
And I did have to look that up. And sometimes it was a case of like looking stuff up. So sometimes it goes. Sometimes it's really easy, which is fine. Sometimes it does make you think, but in that way where it's like, it's very easy to connect the dots. It just sometimes, like, you might have to, like, sit and think for a second, like, how do I catch a boopsicle? Well, I have to melt it. Okay, but I'm in an ice level. There's nothing to melt anything with. Oh, there's hot springs. And then once you see the hot springs, you go, I know exactly what I have to do. And then sometimes it is that thing of just, like, I've literally tried everything and I can't. I can't. I just can't. It's not working. What do I do? I have to break and run through water? How does water make a Bugsnax self-destruct? You know, it's like, I can't answer the question logically. That itself has a knock-on effect into the side quests, where you have to basically, for most of the side quests, you have to catch specific Bugsnax and bring them back to people in the village.
Yeah.
And honestly, it did start grinding me down a bit. Where it's like, I have to figure out where this Bugsnax is, and I have to go out and catch it, and I have to figure out how to catch it. And sometimes it's obvious, and sometimes it just needs a bit of thought, and sometimes I'm just like, I don't get it. And then you have to do that over and over and over again. And not only does it start becoming annoying because sometimes Bugsnax is just really annoying to try and catch, but it starts getting repetitive. Like I said before, there's like 12 or 13 different characters. Constantly giving you new side quests. like with multiple stages to them. And while they're worth completing so that you can interact with the characters, and you can see the characters interact with each other, because it's another thing that'll happen as you start progressing their individual stories. And for Redacted, that happens near the end of the game. The act of actually doing the side quests, it can be not great. And unfortunately, that is also the core gameplay. So eventually, we'll get a point where the core gameplay of Bugsnax is starting to feel a bit too repetitive. Like, I don't think I'll go back and catch all the Bugsnax because it's just I don't want to, right?
Doesn't give you a reason.
Yeah, it's like the only reason to collect all the Bugsnax is if you want the trophy, you want the platinum. That's it. Like the quests in the game will not send you to all of the different Bugsnax. I'm glad it doesn't, because there's 100 Bugsnax, which would have meant there was 100 quests. And I would definitely have lost my patience with it. 100 Bugsnax in. Because, again, a lot of the times you have to catch multiples of Bugsnax for part of the quest. So it's like, yeah, that would have... I wouldn't have made it. What else should I talk? What else can I talk about? The different tools are really interesting, but some of them seem like they're almost useless.
Yeah.
Outside of one specific thing you use them for. So you get a Strabby in a ball that's been trained to follow a laser. And it's really cool. On this one level, when you get it, you make it go across an obstacle course to learn how it works. And then you get it, and you use it for the very next step in a quest. And it can go through small holes. Right? Or it can go through like tree trunks, and it pushes things out that you need, that are in there, that you need to get them out. And then apart from one side quest, which again is an obstacle course designed for you to just guide the Strabby in the ball around, like there's never I've never had to use it for anything, and I don't understand why I have it. Whereas you get other things like obviously the snack trap is essential. Like, it's the thing, you throw it, the thing runs in, you hit the button, and it goes... But, like, there's other cool stuff, like the spring, which you put down, and you can, like, aim it, and then, like, you hit the button, and it just flings whatever is on the thing at the thing. So I, like, used it at one point to fling one Bugsnax into another Bugsnax in the air. Because I was like, oh, I need to get this Bugsnax to hit this Bugsnax. So if I knock it down into the ground and then I pull it in, and then I was like, wait, I've got an easier idea, and I just lured one and it hit the thing. It was great. That felt great because it felt like I had figured something out with the combination of the tools at my disposal. I was like, if I do this to this to this, and it worked, and I was like, this is great. And like all the tools are really great, but some of them you just never fucking use them. Which seems weird.
Yeah, it's disappointing not to use a tool that's in the game that doesn't have a purpose for the game.
Yeah, it's like it has a purpose for the very next thing that you do. And then beyond that, it's like you could have just given it back to the character that gives it to you, and it would have made no difference to the rest of the game. Like, and that's weird.
Yeah.
Although that is kind of what the ending feels like. The last sort of act of the game does feel like it's almost from a different game. Like, it's a tonal shift, which is what the game was going for sure. And you use your stuff in a very different way to how you've used it throughout the rest of the game, which is weird, which feels weird. Because you're not trained for this moment. Essentially, like, because you don't video game, like, you know, if you talk about video games in a very literal sense, it's like the game is just training you for what comes next at all times. So, like, a good game will just build upon itself. So that when you get to the end and you've got all this stuff, you've got all these tools and all this knowledge, cool, but, like, it's like a sharp left turn in the story, which works for the most part, apart from the fact that the epilogue, if you get a certain type of ending, the epilogue feels a bit divorced from what just happened. And also, like, but, like, from a gameplay perspective, it's like the tools still work the same way, but you use them in a different way, and it's like at no point were you prepared to do this, and that feels a little bit weird.
Yeah, that's a little disappointing.
It's still a really good game. Like if you just
overall, it's a thumbs up.
Overall, it is a thumbs up. It does have some issues which are just a bit strange. But that kind of fits, right? Bugsnax is a very strange game. Like even from like its reveal, where it's like it's Bugsnax. What's Bugsnax? Just go with it, right? This is a weird game. So the fact that it's a bit weird isn't surprising. Like in terms of like, oh, the tools feel a bit weird at some points, and I'm watching a boopsicle chase me into a hot spring, and like, you know what I mean. And it's like, okay, okay, I can let it off with a lot of its quirks. If I had tried to platinum the game, I would have probably been more critical of its gameplay elements and its gameplay loop, because even 7-8 hours in, it was getting to the point of like, for the last couple of hours, it was the story and the characters that were driving me, and I wanted it. From a gameplay perspective, I wanted it to be over. Like, I was happy the story was fine. The story lasted as long as it did, and it did all the things that it did, and that was really good. From a gameplay perspective, I was glad that I didn't have to play it anymore.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like I said, all games have issues. We all know this, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm glad you overall enjoyed it. I think it would have been you were excited for this. Like when you first saw it, you were like, Bugsnax.
I must have this. I must have this game. And I'll be honest. Yeah.
Wait, you revealed the console? What's that?
What console?
What
all
console?
I saw was Bugsnax and Goodbye Volcano High. Yeah, it is very much an imperfect game, but like it's quirky and weird. It's quirky and weird in the same way that I'm quirky and weird, and like in the same way that I like my games to be quirky and weird. Like games that I would class as my favorite games of the year, like, or the best games of the year, like Hades, Final Fantasy, The Last of Us, Neo 2, stuff like that. Like, which are very pristine games, right? They're exceptional experiences. Bugsnax is weird and quirky, and it can be annoying, and it can be brilliant. And, like, I love games like that are imperfect, but still great despite that. And, like, I can sit here and tell you about all of the things and all of the ways that it annoyed me, and still be like, but it's so cool. Like, and it's so cool that something like this exists. Because it's just so weird. And considering the two games I played this week were Bugsnax and Call of Duty, and they're like the polar opposites of each other, which I think helped me playing both games to just be like, this is one end of the gaming spectrum, and this is the complete opposite end of the gaming spectrum. So yeah, I'd say it's a thumbs up, it's a recommendation. Don't play it with your kids. You're going to play the first hour and think, why not? This is fine for kids. It's not. And when you get all the way through it, you'll thank me for that recommendation. I am fascinated to see what you think of this game and where it goes.
I'm intrigued. I'll either click with me or it won't. I'm very intrigued to see what happens here.
Anyone out there who watches this or listens to this who's played Bugsnax all the way through, my DMs are open. Come find me. We need to talk.
Very good. Very good. Well, next game is obviously the game I'm giving an impressions of. It's not a full review or anything. So it's a continuous game, but I haven't.
You mean you haven't finished Football Manager 2021, the endless game?
No, I mean, not at all. It's a game that I haven't put a lot of hours in yet. I think I'm about 4 or 5 hours in right now, like I said to you.
I mean, I always nearly finished Bugsnax in 4 or 5 hours. I only got longer because I stopped to do a bunch of side quests. Like, I love how that, and it piggybacks off our bonus content last week. for the podcast, like you're saying, I haven't spent very much long, only 5 hours, and I'm like, I played Bugsnax for 5 hours and I was nearly finished it, like, and that was ages, and that's just fascinating, and that's a tangent. I apologize for interrupting you. You go ahead now.
All right, all right. I put Football Manager 2021 into the same level of F1 2021, where it is a game that's expanded on and fine-tuned what was already great about it and just made it even better. And they've done it in a really, really good way. Last year, they put in a developmental centric element where you could go think more long-term into the game. And that is still an element that's still a part of this game. But now they've fine-tuned it by just adding in these little bit of fine-tuning elements that just make it an overall complete package, which I'm really, really enjoying what I've played so far. The new elements, the main new elements that they've added in is an interaction, match day, recruitment, and end of season type element. So obviously I can't really comment on the end of season because I haven't played it.
You haven't gotten to the end of the season, which makes sense. They're long.
Yet.
Just to say as well, our footage is from the Football Manager YouTube account.
Yeah, the people who are on there.
You will see people on there who are not us, and it's like those people work for Sports Interactive.
Yeah. The interaction element just makes you feels like you're actually speaking to the players actually properly, where it gives you options where you can literally shake their hands and say, "Yo, you did a really good job," or put your arm around them, have a good little talk privately, and say, "Yo, you did a good job," or just I know you can do better type of element. You know, it just gave it. It seemed like it gave that little human element for me.
So is it like kind of like it's forming relationships almost?
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, I'm just like, I feel like I'm connecting to these players. Like when I sell them, I might feel a little bit.
When I sack them,
we did something and everything, but I haven't got to that part or anything like that. It's just like it's a really good element where it expands on. Like I never felt when I was just clicking through on the last games in general, I was just like, which is the one that won't piss them off? Okay, that one there. Boom. That's all I need to do. See you later. I'll speak to you next week or whatever if you come complaining or whatever. But now I can literally feel like I can sit just like chat and say you did really good or hey, I know you can do better type of element.
Right.
Where I feel like I'm actually speaking to them, and it just really, really worked.
That's cool. So it's like it simulates the difference between being a boss and being a leader.
Yeah. A lot of companies in the world could use that right now.
Yeah. No comment.
The UI is being more fine-tuned. It looks more buttery smooth. It keeps to the same main element of like the main home page when you have the main elements around it, but where it's like this all just seems a little bit more slicker, a little bit more snappier. It looks like it's a lot more.
I'm looking at it now, and it does look really slick.
Yeah, it's very slick. I'm really, really enjoying it. The new match day element that they've added in just really makes it more intriguing when you're in a match and everything like that. You can go to certain elements and say, all right, so where I can do like pre-match build-up that was already there. Team talk was already there. You can broadcast interviews were already there. In-match presentation, etc., etc. But it just seems like they've been fine-tuned where you can now just look at it and even to more of a microscopic lens. Say, okay, where am I losing here, or why are they able to get round me that easier? Do I need to push the defense further back? Do I need to say, yo, right back, snap his legs before he let you get him past? I can't say that. Yeah, I can't say snap his legs. I wish I could. It'd be so much easier. Be a Vinnie Jones. Just get in there and drop kick them like he normally did.
The only thing I know about Vinnie Jones is he was funny in Euro Trip and he was atrocious in X-Men. Those are the things I know about Vinnie Jones.
Yeah. He was a Manchester United.
Yeah, it's like I don't really know what to ask, questions to ask, or like where to interject, because I don't know anything about this type of game or the sport in general. But like the way I look at this, and I'm looking at the match day right now, and I can see formations and stats and whatnot. But this is just like a very different kind of strategy game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like it's cool that it gives you all the tools that you feel like you need to be like, we are losing. Because like if you're losing a fight in a strategy game, you want to be able to look and say, okay, it's because I don't have enough troop of this type of troop here, or because we need to reinforce in this position, or if I can move my guy around the side and get flanked. And it's similar principles, right?
Yep.
So it's cool that all that information is at your fingertips, where you feel like if you are losing, you can fix it.
Yeah, the matchday UI is better than it ever has been. It gives you far more data than you've ever wanted and everything like that. Like I say, going back to the things of, like, you can now pick certain elements to change
the
even better than
stadium's
before.
full of people, so it's not very realistic.
That is true. Yeah, that's very unrealistic right now and everything. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoyed what I've played so far. But I am a sucker for these games, so you can take, if you want to, you can take my impressions right now for a pinch of salt, because I have overall enjoyed most of these games when I have bought them. Yeah, the new, like, the only downsides what I've had so far is like, well, I'm just like, oh, I don't like this little element. It's just like little tweaks that I think they think are really, really canny. It's like there's on the match day part, there's a heart element instead of the percentage of like how fit is he, how tired is he, and everything like that. And I can't really tell very well if he's tired or if he's unfit or something like that. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know if I like that. That's a little tweak I think I would prefer to go back
I feel
to
like
just
it's a bar,
100%.
right? Like it's a stamina bar. Like in NHL 21, which I played and reviewed earlier this year, still play from time to time.
Yeah.
Like you see the bar for your player, and the lower it is, the more tired the player is. Tired is a word. Don't look it up.
Yeah. One of the things that I think they were hoping was going to be a really good thing just falls flat, and that is the continuation of trying to get in the action of speaking to the press. I'm just like, it's an element for me. I used it a few times for this game, obviously just to get so I could check it out and everything. But 9 times out of 10, I just go, assistant manager, go speak to the press. I don't want to talk to them, basically.
Cool. So, are there like entire parts of the game that you can automate essentially?
Yeah, basically, yeah. You can basically get a lot of your staff to do a lot of things for you if you want.
So if there's something you're not comfortable with, you're not good at, or you just don't like, you can just be like, hey, you person, peon who works for me, go do the thing that I don't want to do.
Basically, yeah, it's very accessible. It's very easy for, I think, newcomers to get into. They have to read a lot on like the beginning part so they can get into it and see what they need to do and everything. But no, I think it's a very accessible game for anybody, to give anyone who really likes football and all like that can really get into. Yeah, I just feel like when you're speaking to the press again, it's just like, okay, yeah, type of thing. And like they've put names on and like saying where they're from. Like one's from, I've got the screen up here, or from a picture like from Football 1365, or from Sky News, Sky Sports News, or the Sun, or whatever. And like
Fuck the Sun. But they did this in NHL. Sorry, this is gonna be my baseline, like because it's a sports game I've played. Where like you would talk to the media. Sometimes you would talk to the media between games, to like answer questions, get set challenges, bonuses, whatnot. Different game, but it gets really repetitive before I even finish the first season of Be a Pro Mod, which is what I'm talking about. It got really repetitive with the questions and the fact that there was only like, essentially there's a lot of different types of questions and a lot of different types of answers, but essentially it boiled down to there were 2 answers. Do you want to be safe or do you want to be risky? And I feel like, is it the same sort of thing here, where it's just like it can get really repetitive really quickly, and once you see behind the mechanics of what it's doing, it's like the answers are, no matter what question you're answering and what the answers are, like there's a certain amount of options, they all mean the same thing all the time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that one's not a feature that's been improved upon really well. I don't think. I think they feel like they've done a good idea, but I'm just like, yeah, nah, this doesn't work for me personally. Other people may like it, but yeah, not for me. One of the main things I think what's really been really good is the recruitment element, the new recruitment meetings, and like where you can speak to your director of football or heck your owner of the club to say where you have a good meeting and you're talking about who you're going to sign, possible signings and everything like that, suggestions from your scouts and everything. And I think it's a really good thing where you're there, you're sitting down, chatting with them, kind of chatting with them, should I say? Where you're like, oh, okay, who you recommended? Let's have a look. See, let's have a let's have a look, see if they're any good. No, like that, and I really, really do like that element. It's bringing in the new interactions. You can speak to the agents. I believe that is a new element. I can't remember it being in the last one, but you can speak to the agents a bit more than ever. Basically saying, "Yo, would they be interested coming to my club? What is it that they would need to possibly get them to possibly consider coming to me?" Type of element. And
oh, that's cool. Because I've watched Fixer play one of the older versions of this at one point on Twitch, and it was kind of recruitment was kind of you put the money up, and then you had to try and sign them to the contract, and every now and again there'd be like a character who just was like, no, nothing will make me do this. I'm not interested. And it's like, well, that was a waste of time.
Yeah. That can still happen. That can still happen in F type of elements. But no, yeah, it just seems like it's more progressive when it came to the recruitment part, where you just like you can see, especially with depending on the formation you play, they will suggest certain elements that will hopefully fit this formation even better for you. So
that's good.
Yeah, I really
so it takes
do
your
like
strategy into account.
Yeah, especially if you get like good director of footballs, or people, good chief scouts and everything, they're gonna recommend even better things and better elements. So yeah, it's a really great. So it's basically it's a push and pull element on it to part of like you sort out your backroom staff, you'll be able to hopefully sort out getting better people coming to your players coming to your club and everything like that.
That makes sense.
Better recommendations, yeah. So yeah, that element's kind of always been there, but I think they've delved further into that more than ever.
That's cool.
Where you can speak to them more than ever and have a good conversation with your owner and all like that. Which was for my team, I'm just like, do I really want to speak to you as I know what type of person you are dealing with my club in general in real life?
Can't bring your biases, real world biases into the game.
I cannot. Yeah,
you can. That's sports. Yeah. That's how sports works.
Yeah, true.
Like I always said when I started my Be a Pro character in NHL 12, if I got drafted by Boston or Chicago, I was deleting the game. Not happening.
Yeah, going back to the matchday UI, it's had significant changes intended to put the emphasis on the action and make it more like a TV broadcast. Accessing your tactics and substitutes is now at the bottom of the screen in the dugout, so it makes it a lot more quicker and snappier for you to change it straight away. And also, you get recommendations from your assistant manager, say this guy's injured or is limping or something like that. Do you want to just get changed? We've got the person ready. They'll give you the option of this person just clear, do it, ignore, or yeah, basically. Oh. Yes, no, basically. Yes, and they'll change it for you without going into the substitute part yourself.
All right.
So, yeah, they've really, it's just the fine little elements, the fine little tuning, just making it that more better of a complete package. And
quality of life.
Yeah, quality of life. Sure, it's like I say, Codemasters did it this year with the F1, but they did add a new element that just really spiced it up even better. With you're creating your own
team. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I like doing this podcast now, Moody. I learn about games that I would never have learned about.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Like I never would have taken.
You might have to get next year's one, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not very good at driving games. I'd have to set it so easy that I basically couldn't lose.
That's quite easy as well.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Apologies for the video malfunction at the beginning there. The video that I got grabbed off YouTube must have been at 720 instead of 1080, so it made it half the size. And I have a feeling when I switch over, because I just stretched it out so it filled the thing, and I have a feeling when we switch over to the next footage thing, it's going to be like too big, and I'm going to have to fix it live in the podcast. So be prepared for that, everybody.
Okay, time for some Call of Duty.
Oh, it's time already. Oh, no. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Alright, fine. It's a fucking Call of Duty game. What more do you want from me?
Thanks for watching, ladies
and
gentlemen.
Have you played a Call of Duty game? Cool, you've played this one. No, it's the 5th Black Ops game. It's developed by about 17 studios, according to the opening. of the game, you know, where it, like, you know, when the two studios and stuff come up, it's like every fucking studio feels like that's at Activision came up. So it's
basically they knew by pushing this up a year,
so
they
yeah,
needed
it's
to get
like
everyone
I think
involved.
Treyarch and Raven Software were like the two main studios that worked on this, but a lot of other studios, ones I don't even think I'd ever heard of before. But it's a Black Ops game. So this one it's not a reboot of the Black Ops series, but it takes because like the last Black Ops game didn't have a story. The last Black Ops game that did have a story was very futuristic. Like it was set like in 2050 or something like that. That was the Ben Brown one that I hated.
In it?
No, I think that was Infinite Warfare.
Might have been.
Because eventually they all ended up going to the future. It was weird. But basically, yeah, this one's set in the 80s. It has characters from the first Black Ops game, like present in this one, and there are flashbacks to like Vietnam, which was part of the original Black Ops campaign. There's a very clever, because I was like, this is just a reboot, right? Yeah, sure, of course it is, but there's a very clever reference later in the game to an event from the very first Black Ops game, and I was like, this might not be a reboot. This might just be like a sequel to the first Black Ops game with a few elements changed. Because if you, in the very beginning of Black Ops 1, like the first mission you have is basically to kill Fidel Castro, which you do, but as it turns out, it's the wrong Fidel Castro. It's like a decoy Fidel Castro, and the character who you play as in the first Black Ops is a character in this game. It's not the character you play as for most of it, but he makes a reference to it, and they talk about it a little bit, and I was like, I remember that. I don't know why, but I remember that from the first game. And yeah, you play as a created character, Moody. You create a character in this game to play through the single player, and there's a very specific reason why. And I'd have to spoil the game to tell you why. But I'd be cool with doing that later on in this particular talk. Yeah, you create your own character. There are very, very light RPG elements to this game in the single player campaign, because you create a character and you pick two perks, and those perks are essentially like the character's personality translated into gameplay advantages. So I took one of the ones I took was called Calm Under Pressure, which reduced, like, when you get shot and you go like, it reduced that by like 90%. Because I hate that, getting shot and being like, I can't aim anymore. But
So
there's
you
also
just walked forward, got hit, and just kept popping them off.
I mean, you'll probably see in the footage, yeah, sometimes it was just a case of like I would put myself out and get shot just to kill someone.
Basically, you were Wade Wilson, Deadpool.
But this character is only for the single player campaign. It doesn't have anything to do with the multiplayer. So yeah, like all the scene transitions where it's like it tells you who you're playing as, where you are and stuff. It all had my name in it. Like you get given a call sign, Bell, so that all the characters can refer to you by name. But that's just your call sign. So my name was in the Call of Duty campaign, and I was like, I've played 73 of these games. This is weird. This feels weird. But yeah, essentially the plot of the thing. God, I forgot. I'm just gonna get right out and say it. This game is so dumb in so many ways, and some of it's good and in a dumb in a good way, and some of it's really just dumb in a fucking dumb way. The plot of this game is there's a guy called Perseus. He's a bad Russian guy, and he wants to do some bad stuff, and he steals a nuke. Because everybody in Call of Duty, all the bad guys in Call of Duty, always steal a nuke.
The go-to item.
I need to fix the video here. Bear with me, video watchers. Yeah, it's like everybody we go stealing a nuke, and it's like, well, where did he get it from? And then you find out where he got it from. And the plot of the game basically revolves around this ridiculous 1980s thing, where it's like, well, in the 1980s, just in case the Soviets ever took over Europe, America put nuclear bombs, and I shit you not, this is part of the story. America put nuclear bombs underneath every major city in Europe, so that if the Soviets ever took over Europe, they could blow Europe up, basically, the entire of Europe.
I thought that was Brexit.
No, and one of these nukes gets stolen, and then because he's got one nuke, he's like going to unlock the whole system, and he's going to be able to nuke the entire of Europe and blame it on America because America put all the bombs there. But since everybody in Europe would be dead, I'm not sure what the advantage of that would be, because it would be like you're blaming America, but to who? Like, what other major power would be left in the entire world if you nuked the entire of Europe?
Australia.
Like
China.
Yeah, China. But China and America are already fucking
Japan.
hate each other. Like, so it's like, what would be the advantage? I don't understand the plot of this game. And it only gets stupider from there when you get towards the end and the big Black Ops twist happens. Which, again, I'll spoil, but later on. Right now, we're in spoiler-free territory. Because apparently I still respect the spoilers. Sanctity of spoilers with Call of Duty. But I will spoil it later just to talk about how fucking stupid the ending is. But yeah, like, outside of that, it's very much a Call of Duty game. The shooting and the shooting mechanics are incredibly satisfying, as you would expect. It's very slick. It's very it's just so satisfying to shoot someone in the face in this game.
It's the one thing they don't need to change.
No, they really don't. Like,
got the best.
The guns aren't as creative because, again, most of this game is set in the 1980s, so you know you don't get as creative with the guns as you would in, say, Modern Warfare. From last year, but like again, it's just such good gameplay that whenever I was in a big tactical situation fighting all of these bad guys, I was like, this is great. Like, and the best part is the game goes so fast you don't even notice that the AI is as dumb as a bag of fucking hammers. Which it always has been in Call of Duty, but it's worse because now in this Call of Duty your teammate AI is ridiculous. Right. One defining feature of a Call of Duty campaign, right? You get about a dozen situations where you've got an AI companion with you, right? And you're sneaky, and there's two guards in front of you. And your AI companion goes, take the shot, and then I'll shoot the other one. Moody, in past Call of Duty games, it felt really cool, right? You'd shoot someone, and then the other one would just drop dead because they just got shot by a AI companion. I never encountered a situation in this game where I took the shot and then didn't also have to shoot the other guy because my AI companion either missed the shot or didn't even bother taking it. There was one where it was like, I'll shoot one, you shoot the other, pop, and then two other guys come out, and it's like, you're supposed to take one each, and I ended up having to kill all four. And the AI companion I was with even said, damn, where did you learn to shoot? And I was thinking, like, where the fuck did you learn to shoot, you idiot?
I'm asking you.
You're supposed to be cheating right now.
Yeah.
You fucking bellend. Like, I just watched him, and at one point he was like in one of those situations I could see my teammate behind a rock, and I just watched him raise his gun and miss. And then the guy was like Russian for, oh shit, Americans, I guess, and alerted the whole fucking base, and I was just like,
hi.
I just realised I need to actually, there we go, the gameplay's fixed now.
Yay.
Apologies, YouTube. You saw most of it. Just not the bottom corner. It's fine. That's just the UI. Yeah, so it's like little things like that where it's just like, you broke this. Like, you broke this from previous Call of Duty games to this Call of Duty game. It now doesn't work. The other thing I'll say, because now we're on sort of a bugs and glitches section, the other thing I'll say is there's going to be a moment somewhere in this gameplay, you're going to see it. Don't worry, YouTube viewers. Your video player is not bugging out. That's what happened in all of the cutscenes. So, a cutscene will start, and it'll be really stuttery. really badly stuttery. But the audio will be fine. So what happens is the audio gets ahead of the video, which is stuttering. And then at a certain point, the video will load. Because what I'm guessing is the video hasn't loaded properly.
Yeah. And
then the video will go, oh shit, I'm behind the audio. Fast forwards to catch up. Every time. Every single time. And the problem is, despite this being a really stupid game with a bad story, which is bad, the cutscenes were kind of cool, and I kind of would like to see them. But I didn't get to see any of them properly.
Oh, bless.
I will say, though, that those are my two sort of major issues technically with the game, and considering this game came out a year early and was probably hellishly rushed through, like, awful development, like, it's better than it has any right to be. Yeah. So I will say that. Like, kudos to all of the developers, like, for that alone. I'm sorry, there's a level where you come across a Russian training base, which is basically just, like, they've mocked up America, or they think America looks like, and it's a really cool level. And then you get to fight all the Russians through it. So what do you want to talk about? Because there are a lot of interesting things to talk about this, now that I've diatribed about a couple of bits.
I don't know, because like Call of Duty is not a game for me, and it's not a game that interests me or anything like that. So I will play it by ear with you, and you just go off however you want.
Okay. So let's talk about. Let's have a look. I've got a list here of things.
Because you've talked about the story, you've talked about the mechanics, you've talked about the bugs.
I'll do the story stuff because there's other story stuff. It's actually on the screen right now if you're watching the video. I'll talk about that when I talk about spoilers. At the end, and I will very clearly mark where I'm going to do spoilers. The first thing I want to talk about, if I'm not talking about that, I've written some notes, and some of them are like really just like slams on the game. Like, this is so dumb. There's some really interesting ideas at play in this campaign. So like, it's not all just shooting things in this game. There's a mission in East Berlin, right, where you don't actually engage in open combat the entire mission. It's fucking great. I wish there was more stuff like that, which was just like really cool ideas. Because this isn't Modern Warfare, right? And you're part of the CIA, right? But you're not. Well, you can be. You choose, but you're part of like a Black Ops team. You're not part of a military army unit. So like, you go about things in a different way, and you do this level in East Germany, and it's very, again, everything I'm going to talk, it's very basic. It's been done better in other games, but it's really fascinating to see Call of Duty do this. So you start off, and you're sneaking through the subways, and you kill a couple of people in stealth and stuff because you've got your guy with you, and then you go and you meet your contact.
Yeah.
And so you're sitting at this table, and like, you've got the microphone pointed at the bad guy because you're waiting for the deal to go down, but they know you've been followed. So you sneak out through the bathroom while your contact is like, I'll hold them off. And it's like, well, you're dead. Rip you. But in the conversation with your contact, she tells you that like they've captured one of her informants. And if you get a chance, can you go and sort that out by either rescuing him or killing him, so he doesn't give out too much information? So then you sneak through Berlin, because again, you're one American in a Soviet-occupied city. It'd be a really bad idea if you just started shooting all the Soviets, right? And you do. That's the entire level. You sneak back to where they've set their little base up. And like, you make the detour to sneak in and kill the two guys guarding the informant. And you can either set him free or kill him. Just kill him, trust me. Spoilers, he's not a good guy. There's the cutscene thing I was talking about for people on YouTube. And then when you get back to the base, it's like, okay, cool. Well, the meeting was a bust, but they've set up outside the dude's house. And it's like, okay, cool. What if we just plant a tracking device in his briefcase? So you then go into his house, and you sneak in, and you have to get past his wife's downstairs. He's upstairs. Oh shit, all of a sudden, wait, there's a kid in here as well? Shit. Like, you basically have to sneak through his house, get to the briefcase, and put the thing in the briefcase. And that's the level. It's really good for a Call of Duty game to, like, do things without committing several war crimes and murdering thousands of faceless bad guys. Like, you commit so many war crimes in this game as well. It's ridiculous. And the game's like, maybe this is for the greater good. And it's just like, again, I mean, our starting point is America put hundreds of nukes below all of the major cities in Europe. Fucking Reagan, honestly. But yeah, so there's another level later on which does a similar thing, which you play it as your KGB informant, because you have to break into the KGB, but you play as the KGB turncoat, and you wander around the place, and it's like, cool, I need to figure out how to get into the basement to let the guys in, right? And you can't fire a gun because you totally blow your cover, so you have to spin this thing where it's like you've got options on like how to like do this. And the only disappointing thing is, like, whatever options you choose all end up leading to the same place. Which is, let's kill everybody. Whatever you do. And you kill like 300 Russians on the way out, which is like, were there even that many of them in the KGB building? But yeah, it's like it's on the screen right now. It's like you've got the map and you've got to negotiate around, and there's places you can't go that are restricted, and so you've got to like sneak into them and whatnot, or you've got to, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's really cool to see it next to this gameplay. And I'm disappointed that it doesn't go further in places, but it's a cool thing to put in the game.
Yeah. Oh, that's Call of Duty, like I said, it's always mixed. It always sells incredibly well, like we all know it does and everything, and we all know this one's gonna do as well. But like it always never.
I'm watching myself pick a lock, like in Fallout, and there's lock picking in the game. It's Call of Duty. What's happening? Wait, let's tell you about the other thing.
So. You really just derailed.
Sorry.
I won't lie. Yeah, it always seems like it's close to greatness. Like they've never really seemed like they've got back to the greatness that was the Modern Warfare.
Yeah, like the original Modern Warfare at the time was like, holy fuck, you know, this is cinematic as shit. Like it made you feel like you were in this big conflict, right?
Yeah.
This is like, so this is a very different tone, like that Black Ops is trying to set from last year. So Modern Warfare was like taking its cue from things like Zero Dark 30, for example, as opposed to this, which is this is Bond. This is dumb explosions, shooting, ridiculous plot, James Bond type thing.
A Michael Bay movie.
It's a Michael Bay. Yeah, it's a Michael Bay movie. That's a good one, actually. Yeah. Whereas like last year's Modern Warfare was trying to be very serious while also attempting to, blame American war crimes on Russia for some reason. But yeah,
Russia do that, America do that. Who does?
Yeah, it's really. I'll never get over the highway of death sequence in Modern Warfare. I will say that I enjoyed this campaign more than Modern Warfare's campaign as a whole.
Is it because the new element, like the different design elements that you just spoke about?
The different design elements are a big part of it, for sure. The characters are also a big part of it. So you're part of a team, and the characters' banter is really good, and the characters are funny and entertaining. And you get to interact with them between missions sometimes, which is so you can learn more about them. But like even in missions and stuff, like there's one character when you enter the training area that I mentioned. It's like you and this one guy, and it's like you're standing next to the door. And it's like, okay, ready, and he opens the door, and there's a person on the other side of the door. So he takes the person down, and he's about to kill them, and then he realizes it's a mannequin, and he stops. And he like looks at you, and you look at him, and then he gets up, and he's like, "Not a word," and then you keep going on, And there's like loads of little funny moments in there with all these different characters. So like while the plot was dumb and stupid and I hated it, like the characters interacting with each other outside of the plot was cool. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked being able to interact with them between missions as well. When you talk about the game being like close to greatness, this one was so close it hurt. Like this one was so close to being incredible. And it feels like that's where they were going, and then they just pulled back. First, I'll say I played multiplayer. The footage is up on the screen right now. I hate it so much.
Oh wow!
Like
that's the main element. That's the main element.
It's if you like Call of Duty multiplayer, you'll like this. I just don't anymore. Like you'll be having fun shooting for a bit, and it's great fun. And then all of a sudden, like someone with a sniper rifle will lock down the map, or someone will get a helicopter and just start being like all the way across, and everybody dies. And it's like, well, I can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? Like there are pockets of fun, but not like a sustained burst across an entire match. So like,
yeah,
I hate it because it can be great, but it can also suck, and that's why I hate it. And that's what my problem with this game is. But yeah, so the game's campaign is centered around the evidence board. I'll also say I never played zombies because that really isn't my kind of thing. The game's campaign is centered around the evidence board, which is in your base. Now, when you go back to your base, between missions, you can talk to your characters, and you have dialogue options, and you can ask them questions and learn more about them. And I think that's really cool. It's very basic, but it's a really cool way to like get to know the people that you're working with. And I really liked getting to know some of the characters. Like some of the characters are legitimately great. Like there's an MI6 agent called Park, and she's fantastic. I love her. She's brilliant. And I wouldn't have if I hadn't have had these opportunities between missions to talk to her and learn about her past, figure out why she's got this gnarly fucking scar across her throat. But like you also get to see those characters interact with each other like as people between these missions as well. So like when you get back to your safe house, like two characters will just walk off and start talking to each other, and you can just creep on them and just be like, "We don't, pal," and watch their conversation, and it's a great conversation. Like one of them's talking about a gun, and the other one's just talking about how they're really hungry, and the other person continues to talk about the gun while the other person keeps interjecting by saying, "Oh yeah, I could really go for a couple of cheeseburgers," and it's just like, this is great. This is legitimately a great interaction. And I'm so glad it's here. But you also have the evidence board, and this is what pisses me off most about the game. So like 90% of the single player missions are exactly what you would expect from a Call of Duty game. You launch it, you go through, and then you go to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, so on. There are 2 side quests that you unlock immediately, and you can do immediately. But don't. Because you could do them and you'll fuck them up. Because you find evidence related to these side quests in the main campaign missions.
Okay.
So, like, when you find, like, dossiers or data or whatever the fuck it is in previous ones, that's what you'll find in these games, in these levels. But they're related to side quests, the 2 side quests. So you end up with evidence, because it's an evidence board, remember? So you'll pin the evidence to the board. And then once you've unlocked all the evidence for a mission, you can decode it. So you'll be looking for, say, a code in these three different things. And then that code will unlock something that will help you do the mission. Or like the one I remember more specifically, actually. The evidence you're finding. So there's like, you're going after one guy who's like a leader. But in this mission, in this place you're going, there's 8 different people. And 3 of them are his lieutenants. And the evidence you're gathering is to help you figure out which 3 of these people are his lieutenants. So it'll be like who was where, and you got to try and figure. It's like an actual puzzle you have to solve, because you can't just look it up on the internet, because the solution's different for every player. It's great.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's actually really, really good.
So you can think you've solved it, select the 3 lieutenants, and be wrong. And you go into the mission and you finish the mission and you've messed the mission up. Like, and it doesn't have any big bearing on the story, but it was really cool to be like, oh my god, like, I have to figure this puzzle out. This is great. And then I think back to what I'm doing in the game, which is there is this mysterious Russian agent called Perseus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's who you're trying to track down by doing these main campaign missions.
Yeah.
Gathering evidence to figure out who he is, what he's planning, and where he is. It's such a missed opportunity because the entire game could have been like those side quests. Imagine if you launched yourself into missions to find evidence about Perseus to then figure out one part of like his plan or who he is or where he is. And it pisses me off because as soon as I thought that, I was like, that would have been amazing. Why is the game not like this?
Sounds like a definite missing opportunity there. A missed opportunity.
Like if the story's stupid, right? But if this game had done that, it would have been amazing, and I would have been like, this is amazing. Like the story's dumb, but like uncovering the story and piecing things together on like you were using the evidence board properly would have been so good. I wouldn't have cared.
Well, I guess it's best to get into the spoiler part. So
yeah, the story's fucking stupid. So as it turns out,
that's the safe for everybody. Spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So your character in all of this, you create a character at the beginning, of the game, and your character in all of this is like, okay, so how best to describe this? At the very beginning of the game, you remember the reveal at the PS5 event with the thing on the plane taking off?
Yeah.
And like the beginning of that, like you're watching this meeting happen, and some dude gets out of a car and just shoots people, the people he came with in the car, and then he chased the plane down, and then it cuts to your character joining the team, and then as you go through the game, and then you get to the end, like towards the end of the game, and it's like, oh, Belle, you were one of the people who got shot in the car, but you were still alive, and they used like CIA mind stuff to like reprogram you to believe that you were this MI6 agent because you could pick a thing, and I picked MI6 because I'm British. And then at the end of the game, it's like, oh, we need to figure out where Perseus is. So like they put you under, and it's like this guided hallucination hypnosis thing, where it's like, oh, you did this, and then you went this way and did that, and you found the bunker door. You have to do it like 600 times. Because you get to the door, and then like the thing disappears, and it's like, damn, we need to go deeper. Okay, do everything you just did again, but with slightly different weapons. Okay, fine. And like you literally do it like 3 or 4 times. You do it to the point where you started again, and the guy who's guiding your hypnosis just goes, no, we've done all this. Like even the guy who's guiding your hypnosis is like, I'm fucking sick of this shit. We're skipping at the end. And then because you were one of Perseus's top agents, you get to you figure out, and you remember a meeting, and he's like, I'm totally gonna blow the entire world up from this location. And then you come up and you're with your team, and you've got the option. You can be like, totally tell the truth, and then you go and get him, or you can lie because you're like, well, no, I'm loyal, motherfucker. And if you lie, the game ends. If you're like, he's here, and then they know you were lying, so that's it, it's done. But if you don't, you get to play the last mission, and save the world, and then you save the world, and you never see Perseus, and you never have a confrontation with Perseus, despite chasing him for the entire game. The game just ends. You blow up his air guns. The planes come in. They bomb the bunker, so he can't send the signal out. Although as Firefly taught us, you can't stop the signal, but you can't send a signal out to like blow the world up with the nukes. It just ends, and then you're on a cliff with the guy who brainwashed you and was your team leader, and then he's like talking for a bit, and then he's like, oh, he's totally gonna kill me because I know too much or something, and then the game ends and you both throw guns at each other, and you hear a gunshot, but you don't know who shot you. And that's the good ending. So the bad ending if you've decrypted a code and unlocked a door in the base, you can either get the bad ending, in which case you lie. They know you lie. The game ends. Europe explodes. Or you can get the super bad ending, air quotes, where you run down to the radio and you make a radio call for an ambush, and then you get to ambush your team and you kill everybody who you've been with the entire time, and then Europe explodes.
So either way, two endings, Europe explodes.
Yeah, like it would have been cool if there'd have been a third ending where you could have like killed all the motherfuckers who have been doing the war crimes and also kidnapped and brainwashed you, but also stopped the nukes from going off, because actually that's a bit shady. Like, almost like every side is wrong, every side is stupid. Like, and there are no good guys here, and I'm going to stop everybody. That would have been a nice ending to have. Because the game even tries to hint that, yeah, you know what? The CIA in America, they put nukes under all of Europe's cities. They're probably a bit shit. The game almost says that, but then doesn't. Like, it's just fucking ridiculous. Like, there's a part where it's like the two characters are flirting with each other that you're with in this one mission. And I was like, ha, like, that's cool, because, like, they've kind of been flirting with each other the whole game and people have been teasing them about it. And I jokingly thought in my head, one of them's going to die. And then you get to the end of the mission and you've got to choose which character to save. And I was like, I was joking. What the fuck? This is Call of Duty. Nah, fuck you. And then I saved one of them, right? And there's a cutscene afterwards where she was like, it was Park I saved because I love Park. She was great. And she was like, I owe you my life. And then she's not in the rest of the game. Because the Call of Duty writers, designers, whatever, they couldn't handle the fact that one of the two characters wouldn't be there for the rest of the game. So the character you save disappears, and it's like, well, why did you even give me the choice? Because it makes no difference to the rest of the game. It's so stupid. And the twist is so stupid. Why? Oh. There we go, I got it off my chest. It's just fucking stupid. And it could have been great. It could have been stupid and great, but instead it's stupid and a missed opportunity. And that's what really gets me.
Yeah. Especially like those new mechanics that you were saying in like the gameplay parts where they like you did a stealth part and then obviously the investigation part. That could have really spiced it up pretty damn good for you. And kept in the mixture of going out to just go out and run and gun people and
it's like some agency to it. Like, you've given me the opportunity to solve a puzzle, to figure out a thing to do in a mission. And you've given me the opportunity to be wrong, which is also cool. Like if I haven't done the puzzle properly, in my own head, because again, you just do the puzzle with paper and shit. It's great. If that had been the whole campaign, considering the campaign is built, the story is that it is finding evidence and figuring it out and connecting the dots to find Perseus. That could have been the campaign, and regardless of how dumb the rest of the game was, that would have been amazing. It was so close.
So close, yet so far away. That's disappointing.
Yeah.
It seems like they needed an extra year.
It seems like I wish they'd had it. I feel like that was the plan. Like, I really do. Because then it would have made so much sense to have all of these conversations, to have all of these different gameplay elements, like the stealth and the social stealth, and infiltrating the KGB without shooting people, like and the choice that you get to make between like which characters survive, like it all would have tied together really well if they had gone all in on a different campaign structure. But in the end, it's a standard Call of Duty game with some weird moments that aren't Call of Duty like, and it's fine until you get to the end. But because I can see what it could have been, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
Games don't exist in a vacuum, unfortunately. Like, what's
So
here is
overall-
dumb fun.
Yeah. So overall, 2 games, good. Go and give them a try. Bugsnax and Football Manager.
Yeah,
Good
if you
Call
like
of
the
Duty.
shooting in COD, just go do it, because who doesn't?
Me.
If you're a first-person shooting fan, you'll at least like playing COD for the shooting mechanics, and they're great.
Yeah.
But don't pay attention to the story because it's fucking ridiculous. Like, that last twist annoyed me as much as fucking Black Ops 3, when they started talking about the frozen forest over and over again, and I was screaming at the screen trying to make it stop. Yeah, I mean, I tweeted the image of just like, this is me finishing the GIF. This is me after finishing the Black Ops Cold War campaign, and it's just what. Why are you like this?
You are so close to be so good.
You could be great. You were great once, and then you didn't get with the times, and now you're just not great. And like, I feel like they need to separate, like, because they've taken the Battle Royale part of Call of Duty, right? And they separated it into its own thing. And I think they need to do that with everything else. Call of Duty needs to essentially explode, much like most of the things that happen in the game. And they need to take the zombies and the campaign and the multiplayer, like the standard multiplayer, and they just need to package those things separately. And I think Call of Duty could be really great. Like, they've already got, because of the way Warzone works, they already have like a platform essentially that they could just add to. So you've got Warzone, which is the beating heart of Call of Duty now. It's going to be tied into Black Ops at some point in the near future, because again, this game was a year early.
Yeah, that's true.
So things aren't quite here yet. And like, if they just like sold like add-ons, like a campaign that takes like, say, 2 years to make, right? And it's like $20 or $30, and it's like you could just buy it, but on its own, it's separate from everything else. And you have like the multiplayers, and that's evolving. And you have zombies off on its own, and these are all just parts, because that's how it exists now. Call of Duty is a $60 game with 4 different parts. And what if you just detached all of those parts from each other and released them at different times when they're ready? You could sell the campaign separately whenever it's ready. You could get the multiplayer, and you could do updates to it, and maybe sell expansion packs or sell new versions of it. Zombies could be its own thing. Warzone already is its own thing. It's like that seems like it would work so much better than what they're doing now. With these the way they release Call of Duties at the moment. But unfortunately, while it's still the best selling game year in, year out, they're not going to change the business model.
Mm-hmm.
And the business model is starting to cause other parts of the game to suffer. Like, I've seen people talk about the multiplayer who like the multiplayer, talk about how the maps are disappointing, and there's not very many maps, and the progression's disappointing, and the guns are disappointing, and the kill streaks are really annoying, which actually I know because I experienced that while I was playing the game. And it's like, there's people expressing disappointment for the multiplayer now. So that's 2 of the 3 major parts of this game that aren't great. And if both of them were on their own development tracks, being given more time, they could be better. They could be a lot better. And more people might pay for them. Individually. It's a shame. It really is. Like, if they just explore this, an alternative, it could be a better game.
That sucks. It really does suck, that.
But hey ho, what are you going to do? Just got the G. I haven't cared about Call of Duty since 2010.
I've never cared about Call of Duty, so I'm okay. I'm okay. Well, I think that's it.
That's
3
it.
games done
That's
and
it.
dusted. Our impression. Well, 2 reviews basically, and 1 impression. So.
Oh yeah, obviously finished Call of Duty as well. Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna sneeze. You talk.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed yourself here, ladies and gentlemen. Bugsnax, Football Manager 2021, and Call of Duty Black Ops 5, Cold War, whatever. The name, like
There's
Amy
no
said,
5 in it, but it is the 5th one.
yeah, it gets longer and longer and longer and longer. And yet the campaign gets shorter and shorter and shorter. It's very
Oh,
intriguing.
yeah, it was like 4 hours, if that. I think it was less. Actually, I don't think I had 4 hours worth of footage. So it must have been less.
Oh my. Oh my, indeed. My goodness. But one of those things, isn't it? That's just how it's going to work. Shit happens. Well, hope you've enjoyed yourself and listened to us while we talk about some good games and some not so good games. I hope you've enjoyed the interaction between both me and Amy, because we do enjoy doing this. It's one of my highlights on a Sunday night when we record this, even though you don't get it until Monday.
That's nice.
And everything like that. So
I'm just quickly looking. Next week we'll be doing.
I hopefully will be doing Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PlayStation 4. I do have it. It is installed. I just haven't played it yet because obviously I was doing certain things yesterday.
Yeah, I'll be doing I guess some indie games. And maybe Moody will be checking out Immortals. But there's a lot of indie games coming out next week, and I'm not checking out Immortals, so I'll check out a few of those.
I hope I will check out Immortals. I'm not going to guarantee.
I said maybe. Never take anything we say at the end of here for gospel. For all we know, someone's going to announce Hollow Knight next week, and it'll be like, well, fucking shit, I'm playing that.
Amy's done, man. Amy's done for the day.
My week is done.
Yeah, she'll be falling in sick and everything. The whole shebang.
Shh, don't tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be cool. It'll be fun. I might announce I'm playing a game for a retrospective review, and I might even announce what it is. I'm waiting until I know whether I'm doing it before Christmas or after Christmas. The video.
After, I would say after.
We'll see.
If you have time off, you'll be able to type up.
I want to do other things in the time off. Play other games. This game is from 2020. I need to go back and finish. And by need, I don't mean this is like I must force myself to finish this game so I have an opinion about it. It's there's sometimes that happens when you play games and do impressions on a weekly basis. You don't get to finish them, and then other games come out, and then you go, I really want to finish that. I still need to finish Coffee Talk, and I started it in January. At this point, I'm starting over. Yeah,
January 12 years ago, Amy.
I know, right? When Coffee Talk came out, I didn't have to wear a mask in public. That's gonna do it for episode 9 of the weekly review. So yeah, it is the highlight of my Sunday too, and I hope it's the highlight of your Monday, or at least a part of my Monday that you enjoy. Say bye, Moody.
Bye, Amy.